Kabbalah for Complete Life Management. Chapter 4. Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach, Portnaar. The sixth sense, the feeling for the inner. Every impression collected by the five senses enters the brain and is processed by an existing there within us calculation program. The result is what one has experienced. The brain also gives signals coming from the observation of the past, the memories. When the brain, the so imaginary observations, hallucinations, or observations register while he isn't aware of it, it is as a dysfunction or a disease of the system. While studying Kabbalah, you become aware of your surrounding, and at the same time, this surrounding is from a distance because you observe not only yourself but also the light, the source of all your observations. And this is an individual experience. Nobody can confirm or deny this. It is the most practical teaching, and only by verifications everything will become clear. Inch by inch, one gets a sixth sense for the experiencing of his inner. The inner becomes more and more alike the giving light. In the last century, one believed in the strength of power and in the intellect of science. Now it is time for humanity to discover that true life is controlled, and to govern our life, we have to reach our root of the giving light. There will be in each of us the substantial need to comprehend the inner. Our life will force us to seek redemption, and there always will be the possibility to have influence in what is happening around us. Humanity will discover the input of the high government. The common law of the universe will force us to grow. The outer being is lazy. It is his nature. He is selfish, and there is no way to bring him to fulfillment. When you start the studying of Kabbalah and you start to live according to the method, you take the possibility to avoid the way of suffering and grief. You become aware of some strengths and some knowledge for how to behave in this world. In this way, you're one step ahead of failure, fate, and accidents. The sense of living. There is one question every person will ask at a certain moment at himself. What am I living for? Why all these sufferings? The years of hard work, the grief till the moment I am completely exhausted, and at the end of my life. This question is for everyone who wants to make something of his life. There were great philosophers working with this question during many, many generations. They were sincere and wished to find an answer on this question. When we think about the real reason for our grief and suffering, we find the cause and consequence. Although everyone can give a different answer, but it will always be in agreement with his personality and culture. Therefore, everyone has to work at this question and to find the answers in a personal way. In former centuries, there was a bunch of misery till they reached a level that was necessary to come to connection with the inner. This was needed because we were unconscious, didn't know how uncontrollable reality was for us. But today, while we experience the revealing of our suffering, we acknowledge the future depends on us. And when we have become conscious about this, we want to tell others to shorten the period of development of human beings. In this Kabbalah training, we shall learn how to come in contact with our inner being in a short time. We will understand the depth of our inner roots and develop a mature attitude on how to develop life. We will come to the understanding it is me who is to blame and not others. We have to come to this attitude to see reality. We will be capable to understand the events within ourselves and around the world so we can react in a proper way and at a proper time. The Four Commandments. Make yourself negligible in relation to and towards with respect of your inner being. This means making space within yourself. Do not listen only with your head, but also with your heart. While using your head, you can become a specialist, but in the Kabbalah training, you will need intuitive feeling. When you use only your head or your heart, you will see different aspects. Every day you have to find your wholeness. How can I reach the optimum? Have the deep wish for the goal to experience the inner. This is enough, but it has to grow. For the connection with your inner being and the light, you have to live according to the Four Commandments. When you use in every situation the Four Commandments, you will come closer to your fulfillment, to the connection with the light of life. In other words, you will see reality. These commandments were first given to a few persons who study Kabbalah to live according to these commandments, and then to pass them over on to others. For the first time in history, during these Kabbalah trainings, it will be revealed and worked out on you. We don't speak about the commandment of the flesh, only about the awareness of a person from his skull and downward, just because the reaching of the ego point. When we constantly keep in mind these 4 commandments, we will come to the observation of the highest reality. Of course, the highest level is always in the moment. Then, structurally, there would be no mistakes. People in our world will be in agreement with the control system of the universe. The light had made a treaty with 4 places in the inner being. The light is the quality of giving, and our nature is to receive. When we act according to 4 commandments, we are focused on the strict laws of the universe, and not on the story of our world. How true your story may be, it is and always will be an imaginary one in your mind. While living and experiencing these 4 commandments, we experience our life as worthwhile, as a diamond or a pearl. It only depends on your intention. Number 1, the commandment of the eyes. This is a place within the fields of strengths of the inner being named wisdom. This is the area of the thoughts, and these are the thinnest form of wishes. The meaning of this is to come in acquaintance with yourself and or your surrounding. To see, you will notice what you see, because the outer being can have the evil eye, and your thoughts have to be pure. The commandment of the tongue. This is a place within the fields of strength of the inner being named intuition. It is the commandment of words. This is the transport area of your thoughts to your body. Through this, the form of the wish becomes thicker. With the mouth, we take in food. We praise and curse. Don't gossip. Only speak words so another feels better. Do not gamble. Avoid negative remarks from your outer being. Or do not grumble. Avoid negative remarks from your outer being. Number 3, the commandment of the heart. The inner heart is the field of strength within the physical body. This is the area where we can feel a form of a wish already fit in some place of the heart. Also, the wishes of the heart, all the inclinations, attitudes, love, hate, are to be found here. And some of them can make or break us. When you come to an understanding of your wish, your attitude will be good. Then you aren't a slave of circumstances, neither of the society nor of family and friends. It is said to love your neighbor and not to hate others, and this work has to start within your being, within your inner being, the wishes of the inner being. Number 4, the commandment of the genital organs, or the base. This is a place within the fields of strength of the inner being named the genital organs. Do not make the mistake to think we are speaking about the flesh. In Kabbalah, we only speak about the inner strengths, and these are very heavy, very hard wishes to control. These wishes are so thick, they have come to the stage of action. Eventually, all the inner forces of the other fields of strength are coming together here in the base. Here we see an enormous area of energy. The 4th commandment is about the system of strength inaccessible for science, religion, or whatever we have here on earth. It was and stays a forbidden area because we don't have the key to open this most crucial area. We only receive the key when we are ready to understand this crucial area and how to use it in a right way. That's why there is so little written about this subject. And when you have learned and understand these 4 commandments, you have to live them every day of your life. Everything is connected with each other. The light of life is perfect, whole, and our inner being has to come in agreement with the qualities of the light. Living according to the commandments is a situation of everything or nothing. But don't be afraid. You will learn by heart. There isn't a way to do a little bad or a little good. Why not? Our source, the light, the laws of the universe, is perfect, whole. That's why we have eventually no other choice than to come to our fulfillment and to strive for wholeness till the moment we are ready. The more you live according to the 4 commandments, the more you will experience the reality. What you need is an intense desire. 1, 2, 3, 4. The more you live according to these 4 commandments, the more you develop in yourself the strength to win. When you live according to these 4 commandments, you will be surprised that no one can mislead you. You aren't a slave, but the conductor of your own destiny on the path of your life. In every aspect, you will experience everlasting success and well-being at your work and with your family and friends. The reason for this is because you live according to the 4 commandments. The outcome will be noticed also in the material life. Through this, you will have taste in all the 10 flavors. Sefirat equals splendor. In every condition, task, problem, project, etc., you will experience them. You would be amazed about the progress you make even in your condition. In a way, would never be really exhausted anymore. And then you don't need extra products as coffee, etc., alcohol to come to relaxation. Your surrounding, including your colleagues and adversaries, will see you with other eyes, even without realizing why. And there will be calmness in everything that is happening with you, because in a way there's nothing but feeling of love within yourself. Now you may have come to the understanding why it is so important to live according to the four commandments of the eye, the tongue, the heart, and the genital organs, so you can experience the 10 fields of strength. Your inner being knows the strength of the light. The outer being knows only the power of the physical body, the wish to receive more and more for himself. The first commandment is the easiest one, and the fourth the heaviest. No one can have control over the forces beneath his waist. Even they who are going to live in convents to be away from the seductions of the world, they also have dreams about other gender. There is no resistance because it is within the nature of the person. The fourth commandment is given to us without tools, only the teaching of the laws of the universe lying within the Kabbalah. Only with the laws of the universe you will have an inner entrance for the forces beneath your waist. You see what is happening in every convent. It breaks every man and woman. There is a damaging of all correction within masturbation. The more you give in to your wishes of outer being, and within the outer being we find the base, the more it wants to have without coming to satisfaction. The less you give, the calmer it becomes. You can't play games here. Everywhere, even at your work, we have to live according to the four commandments. Number 1. The commandment of the eyes. Your eyes, chokhmah, have to look good. Don't have the evil eye, meaning do not envy because it will break you. There has to be a striving for not to envy. Work at yourself. When you only look at others, you only withdraw your strength. Look always at yourself and not at others. Of course, we can hug each other, etc., but don't make a comedy of it. This is not the way we're made from. And of course, you have to be generous to others. For example, someone has a new car. Don't envy him. Turn the feeling, be generous. You have to be generous. And if you lack this strength, it is good to remember to say, I am generous. Beg for the strength to be generous to everyone. Why? Others don't have to interfere themselves with your inner being. Number 2, the commandment of the tongue. Don't have an evil tongue, and this is not only about the words you're speaking, but also in what you're feeling and don't talk about. When there is only the thought for it to hurt someone, the way the act has already done, because in the inner, every thought will be stored forever, and only when you come to the true feeling of the light, there will be miracles. So be positive. 51:49. More for the good than for the bad. Reverse all the negativity of your tongue. 3. The commandment of the physical body. The epic center of the body is the heart. The eye, hate, is a negative commandment of the heart. Turn it to love. Let the light flow to your whole inner body and love it. When the hate is so strong you can't overcome, beg for the light. Not only utter some words, but also make yourself small. Make your conceit small. It is a correction in the heart. We find several wishes of the body. The commandment of the genital organs, the base. As we have already said above, this is a subject that is absolutely incomprehensible for most of us, as it is a laugh. It is against the mind of the thinking man. We say, what harm is there when I watch a sex movie? I only want to relax. I know there's no cheating in your inner being. It influences your thinking, feeling. Although you think this isn't happening, it is, because you don't know the mechanism of your true function of the area beyond your waist. This is an area absolutely unknown to most of us. Even politicians and presidents have problems with this. He who is striving to come in agreement with the higher strengths, he escapes to a monastery. But even there, he will not find a solution for this fundamental strength. It is easier to have power over half of the earth than to have power over its own foundation. And nobody can give him redemption, only when he brings himself in agreement with the laws of the universe, because there is a law. There is nothing in general that we can't find back in particular, and every human being is a small world. With the univocal instructions, and with some help, he will come along. But there is a main rule. Do not interfere yourself with the mess of another, because then your own awareness moves to the other. Of course, it will feel good but eventually you will lose the connection with your inner being. You're losing time and you aren't coming closer to your goal. In contrary, it will throw you back in the lowness and the dirtiness of a low animal. Through the training of the Kabbalah, there is a receiving of appreciation because there is a discovery of your inner being within you, and wholeness will be the result. Make your greatest enemy your friend. And the greatest enemy is your uncorrected outer wish. There is no other enemy than your uncorrected wish, because this will withdraw you from wholeness. It is the stone of offense. To see the world in truth as whole can only be done by a corrected person. See and taste how good the light is, says the Kabbalist. Therefore we have to go beyond our reason. A fundamentalist believes beneath his knowledge. It is the attitude of mass spirit that doesn't verify. He who is not corrected has, of course, doubts, such as, how can a good government of the universe let children die? And the answer is, I don't quite understand, but I believe the government is good. And although I don't experience this from within me, this is only because I am not correct to see the right way. You can't blame a person because he's still in the spirit of the mass. In everything you have to look from within. The mass spirit is still in a human developing phase. He's looking for proof, groups, cults, etc. Therefore, Kabbalah is an individual movement. You have to clear and to build up yourself. All the wishes manifesting themselves in the world are in you. Only when a person has finished the correction within himself, he will come to the experience of going beyond words. The ultimate goal is to come to an inner connection with the whole. It is from my inner I give a kiss or warmly handshake, and not from my outer being. Everything that we're doing with the outer being is a game. Of course, it is not forbidden, but it doesn't bring you to your fulfillment. Your inner being is a whole, warm and loving. Act in the way your inner being is, and not in an artificial way. From the inside, you are not higher than your friend, because if you do so, he can't reach you. The lower you go, the more you will learn and receive from him. The end, only your inner being has to make itself low. This is not an artificial humbleness, but it is the sweetness of your life. The only free choice you have is the choice of your surrounding. Everyone has a free choice. It is the choice to choose your surrounding. Leave your friends behind when you are not in agreement with your striving for fulfillment. If not, inch by inch, they will wipe the floor with you. And they would persuade you to invest your strength in something else. You're a prey for them if you don't make it your own choice. In the early days, you were with them, and you had the same speech, and you were in the same gossip. Now it is over, and you don't belong to them. And your surroundings shall and will not understand nor accept. Then you have to make your own choice. You have to leave the spirit of the mass. Go and find other people who are also working at their own fulfillment. Do not advertise your inner work. Do not lease your heart. Every person has the right to strive for his own fulfillment. It is not a duty because everyone has to follow his own development. When he doesn't understand, he isn't ready. Maybe he will do it later, over 1 or 2 years, or in one of his next incarnations. But when life is very precious to you, start now. When you have just started, you need patience, because at first everything is welcome. There's no selection. You are coming from the world of the 5 senses, and the one who's doing this for years, has to have patience too, because he can have the feeling of, I know better than you. You are what your intentions are, it is said. Tell me about your surrounding, and I will tell you who you are. Don't be a slave of your surrounding. When you work at your inner being, for 90% you can say goodbye to your old surrounding. 4 kinds of people in your surrounding. The first group is the one highest in rank, to let them come closer to you. These are the people who are just as you, striving for achievement. They also want to live according to the laws of the universe. Create such a surrounding near you so you can come in contact with them. The age doesn't matter, it is all about the inner. The second group is the only one who supports you. They support your work of correction and study, but for themselves they are still a little bit careful, but they respect your choice. The important thing is they may not lead you away from your achievement. For themselves, they need a small push, but you leave them alone and you don't push them to do the same as you do. Everything in agreement with the laws of the universe. There is no force in the inner. The third group is they don't want or they don't care about what you're doing. They don't stand in the way. The fourth group are the scoffers. They don't have the wish to overcome the material nor the flesh. They are living day by day, and they want you to do the same. It is very important to avoid these people. It is said, love your neighbors. Do I have to love them? Yes. We're coming, all of us, from the same source. When your finger hurts, it is not your finger that is hurting. It is the pain in your heart and in your mind. This is the same for every person here on earth. There is an inner connection, but we have to work first at ourselves. Then you can help others. But now we don't have enough strength. Now we have to look for people who are supporting us, who have the same wishes as we have. But as you become stronger, you can see the other. In truth, how is and when you can love him also. Outside myself, everything is perfect. What you're going to do with your wishes is very important. Everything outside yourself is whole. The problem is you don't see it. He who isn't corrected suffers and has grief. Once you are on the highest level, you can love the scoffers, your enemy. But for now, you can't love yourself. You don't know who you are, or who or what your inner being is. How on earth can I love my enemy? That's why you have to leave the one who scoffs you. Do not invite them, but either do not hate them from a distance. The moment to love them is only possible when you experience the light outside yourself. Know that everything is good, is correction, so love everybody. We are all on the same path, but first you have to develop your inner being, because this is the one who is abandoned and be hated by you, because you emphasizes the love for the outer being. Now is the time for effort, and although you won't see the effect right away, it is good. Everything goes step by step. So we need patience, and no, don't struggle with your inner. You have to overcome the feeling of sorrow. Don't escape from your own rescue, from yourself. Of course, don't seek trouble, but when it comes to you, deal with it. You need these moments or even these periods, otherwise you will not learn. So first learn the method, and then automatically the method will do the work. It is good to know your inner being can't make mistakes. It is the mechanism that is in potential within us. Once you were young and you had joy, but on a certain moment there was the other side, the grief and the misery. And if you want to come to your personal achievement, there's no other way than to meet these forces and to overcome them. You can compare this with the overcoming of the gravity when we're in space. Your inner being has to overcome the gravity of the body. It is a necessary force we feel as misery, and no doctor can help you with this feeling. When you can't sleep or you have a headache, it can be an enormous cleansing, a life buoy. The problem is you don't understand it right now. Likely it is something given to us for the correction in this incarnation. So accept it with joy. See it as a marvelous mechanism. But no, don't seek the misery. The 4 layers in your inner. The first layer, action. This layer is the lowest. Once you have started your correction process, this is the layer you will meet at first within you. It is the area of the giving and the taking. This layer is constructed in the consciousness as 90% evil and 10% good. It is impossible to escape from it. You have to build up the strength to pass this layer. One needs the most power at the start. You can compare this to starting an engine. Starting is the most difficult. When the engine is working, it is easier to keep it going. The second layer, form. This is the area within you with the structure of 50% good and 50% evil. It seems easier to go through. We see more acceptances because there is more agreement with the laws of the universe. The third layer, creation. Here you experience 90% good and 10% evil. The fourth layer, shining. For almost 100% you have the experience of feeling good. Of course, there will be the feeling something has to be corrected, but it will be done during the time of the outer correction for all of mankind. This is named the eventual goal of correction. In this stage, you come to achievement, and there is an everlasting shining without ups and downs. Show your weakness. For the most of us, the start of the work on the inner is at a later stage. You can compare this with one goes to a doctor when the body is full of pain. Of course, for emergencies, you have to go to a doctor, but by doing the inner work, you can be one step ahead of illness. Eventually, everyone has to correct himself. Here we see the principle of the weakest link. Dare to see your weakness and work on it. Don't correct what you like. You have to correct your weakest link. Expose it for yourself and work on it. Justify always the government of the universe. Be fair. If you don't feel anything, be free to say so. It has to be real. Your ego is telling you differently, but the inner being in you wants to overcome his nature. We call Adam the first man. He was the one who could be called the first man. Before him, there were only human-like talking and walking animals. A human being is he who acknowledges and lives according to the laws of the universe. The definition of man is he who is in the condition of acknowledging his inner being and works on his development. Learn to experience this. He knows there is no other thing than the light of life. The inner being existed quite a long time, but the acknowledging of the laws of the universe started with Adam. The 4 commandments were not entered into an alliance with people who were hunting the mammoths. To receive in an egoistic manner is sin. Therefore, the inner being felt shame, and he had to hide himself. We have to come again in harmony with the light of life, or in other words, with the laws of the universe. Before one experiences this inner being, he doesn't know anything about shame. The closer he comes to his inner being, the bigger and healthier the uplifting shame. What you see is your nakedness, your uncorrected state. You see your ugliness against the weak feeling of wholeness. When you experience this, you already have a very high level of your inner development because the correction is already working. Feel love for the wholeness of your inner being and not for the person of flesh and blood. Only through this you may feel love for another being. There is no other way for coming to wholeness than by way of the inner being. People change every time, also during the lessons or trainings. At first there is a natural resistance, then we become more and more receptive. In a way we go deeper in ourselves and don't stay superficial or shallow. This happens by using the wisdom as a tool to enter the hidden. These trainings in Kabbalah are opening in you certain doors, and others will be locked. By living these lessons, you will develop some feeling sensors for all the good that belongs to you. This is the only subject of Kabbalah. The word comes from the verb lekabel, receiving. What is the way to receive all the good without having a hangover afterwards? You have to make yourself small and modest, and at the same time alert and active. Be prepared to be aware of your inner being all the time, in everything you do, your good actions and your study. It will be an extra, and everyone can do this. You have to understand yourself through the flesh, with the heart, and with your mind. Though some doors will be open and others will be closed. Surrender yourself. There is only one comprehensive strength, one gigantic opening, as well above in the universe, as well deep inside us, and it has the quality of absolute unselfishness. We have to bring ourselves in agreement with this strength. Then this strength will shine on the powers beneath our waist, and there will be a resonance. Instead of being selfish in our receiving, we open ourselves for this quality of the universe that is always there. And it will give you all that you need. There's no other strength that can help you with the developing of your inner being. The left hand pushes away and the right hand attracts to itself. In this method of correction, we see as well the left as the right side are used in the correction. It isn't in the law that both hands pull because there is the principle of one against the other. First there is the battle of the opponents, then there is the wholeness. The right hand indicates the aspect of the giving strength, love and dignity. It is the pulling strength, and there is no limit in the giving. The left hand severity indicates the pushing strength, limitation. As long as a person isn't corrected, he can't receive. In this situation, he only wants to receive in a selfish way. Only when these two strengths are working together, we speak of a corrected situation, the middle line. And this line is in agreement with the true reality, a dynamic balance between these two strengths. So both strengths are progressing. The good and evil need each other. There can't be fulfillment without bringing these two strengths to the highest point within you. There has to be in you the repetition of the words. I don't need any other strength than the strength already in me. It won't be easy. You have to believe in it while you can't see or notice your inner strength, because what you see are the opposite forces. You have to work on it. But it is the same in the material world. Everything you worked hard for is very valuable for you. In our eyes, it seems there are evil forces. This is because we haven't yet developed the right senses to see behind the evil there is the good. It isn't possible for us to look behind, and it is the same for the good strength. So there is the only surrendering for the light. But for the moment, we don't have the strength to be in agreement with our inner being. Everyone has expectations and has the longing for an everlasting fulfillment. It is the attachment of faith in the thing you long for that opens or closes the doors of light. But after a while, you feel yourself deceived because the gate of the Savior, the gate where all the living strengths come from, wasn't reached. Only when this happens, all other doors will be reconstructed. Therefore, we have to start with working on ourselves and to trust our inner being. All other doors are for them who are walking behind the mass. You have to overcome in every situation the opposite moods and feelings. How? By building up the confidence to go beyond your reason, so you can solve and bring in agreement the opposites to a higher level. In the higher, the evil is always good. Not simply good, because in every situation there is the opposite. It is made in this way according to the instruction of the higher. We can only walk when we have two legs. The goal and the result is the unity between the two opposites of your uncorrected observation. Now you have gained strength at a higher level, and you have become worthy to receive again two new opposites. Again, there is a situation of the good and the evil, but on a higher level, and again you have to work to bring them in unity. Over and over again, you will be showed a new piece of egoism. Don't be interested in the end of this process. There has to be a result on a daily basis. Feel every day the opposite in you, and know it is only because your awareness is still lacking, and the lack is the correction. It isn't your fault, nor is it outside of you. In a way, you are perfect already. Only the awareness is missing. So be attentive where your thoughts are. In every thought, you open a door, and you believe in truth that you are receiving the shining of the strength of life. And this can build up the leakage of your energy. Because instead of receiving the strength of life, you can spoil energy too. Higher means higher awareness, higher reality, and fuller experience. What you're doing for a living is not the ultimate goal, because if you do so, you will always be cheated. Of course, you have to invest in your profession, and of course, there has to be the wish to receive the maximum. But when there is no attaching with the development of your inner being, eventually the top will be very empty and boring. And as a result, you could act in a very crazy way. And if you don't reach the top, your body will abandon you, and emptiness is all that will be left. Only when there is attachment with your inner being, you will receive life. Don't interfere with the correction of another person. Of course, you can give some indications, but the work has to be done by every person himself. Kabbalah is a miracle, but not magic. Always make the connection with the four commandments. Live according to the four commandments. Don't have adulterous thoughts of wishes through your eyes or your tongue or your heart or your base. Your intention is everything. Remember, the words of accusing somebody are wrong. You don't have to say it. And even the thinking of such an accuse is an adulterous thought. This is the cause of losing your energy. You're losing the clear observance of the true reality, and the true reality leads you to wholeness. Through the adulterous thoughts, you aren't in agreement with the qualities of the light. All the adulterous thoughts and wishes you have in your heart mean only you have a wish for something or someone, but it is an egoistic wish coming from the outer being. As long as the outer being has the longing, you can't come in agreement with the source of life, because the source of life only wants to give. The receiving with the wish to give belongs to the giving. What is in the micro is also in the macro. Knowledge about the atom gives knowledge over the whole. And it is the same for the inner. To live our life in the here and now makes us growing in wholeness and to experience it. Reincarnation is only a coming back to finish what we didn't finish now. Kabbalah invites you to come to your own inner being. The universe and the I are the same. Only the I is very small. Open yourself for the true way. It is hard to understand the universe and the I are the same, have the same qualities, but don't struggle.